going on? Thanks for tuning in for my review of the Phoenix Project Book 2, The Reformation. First off, I have to say right away that this series never should have been split up into separate books. I think that it works better if Book 1 and this were combined into one volume. It would have made a lot more sense just to do it that way. And I'm saying this because Book 1 really... I know I made my review of Book 1 and I just did not have a lot to say about it because, to tell you the truth, there weren't really that many different events going on in the first book. So, of course, you know, with Book 2, The Reformation by M.R. Pritchard, we meet Andy Andromeda again, and she has seen some bombs going over in the sky, and the Reformation has finally closed the deal. They have decimated the United States of America. Another thing I wanted to mention was I had read another review of this series. I don't know if it was the first book or if it was this one, but somebody had tried to compare this series to the Hunger Games. That's like saying that apples and oranges are both fruit. Yes, the Hunger Games and this book, The Reformation, are both dystopians. They're both science fiction, but that, by all means, this series is not the Hunger Games, and it is way better than the Hunger Games. One of the things I really loved about this book was that it just had the right amount of paranoia and conspiracy that just makes a dystopian or, you know, science fiction book really work. And I say this because, you know, you learn that there's these people called the funding entities who are the main people behind the Reformation group, and you never really know who they are. And it's always the mystery. Well, who are these people? You know, where is the real true power? Because these people, they're rich, they have power, and they have technology. And there's only one guy we really seem to know who happens to be one of the funding entities, and his name is Crane. Now, Crane comes off as a really silly villain to me, just because the way the author describes him as having bright orange hair, so he sounds like a clown. And to tell you the truth, I don't really see him as a very threatening villain. I don't know if that was intentional or if it just came across that way to me. But he kind of reminds me of Doofenshmirtz from Phineas and Ferb. He seems really silly and not much of a very, you know, real threat. But back again to the funding entities. These people have set up districts all around the United States and other parts of the world, but we're going to talk about what's going on in the United States. So they've set up these different districts, and they've wiped out the United States. So the real truth comes out when you get to the middle of this book, and you find out, oh my God, this is why they had done this. This is why they had set this plan. And I'm not going to tell you because no spoilers. I don't want to reveal the exact things, the details of what went down in this book. But Andy is sent out on a mission. She is sent that she has to unite the districts. And then she goes and visits each district in its turn, and she sees the truth of the matter at hand and what's really going on with these districts and really going on with the Reformation Party. I found this to be very enjoyable, very entertaining, and it made me love this book. I love this book so much I gave it 5 stars on Goodreads just for that reason. I thought it was going to be so predictable when it got near the end of the story, and I'm like, oh my God, I think this is how it's going to end. But then the author was so convincing with the way she wrote, you know, this one character's reaction at the end of the story that I thought maybe I'm wrong and I'm not really knowing how this book's going to turn out. And bam! It turned out it was perfect. Wonderful, masterful ending to this book. And I could easily see this book being translated into a film. It had a lot of action, a lot of suspense that really, as I said before, really works out for a dystopian. I don't really think this is a YA. I think that it was being labeled as a YA before, but I think this is an adult science fiction dystopian book. And like I said before, it would kind of make more sense if it was a whole book and not split up into parts. I do have to admit that the book really started out really slow in the beginning because it was just, what Andromeda's life is like living on this suburban area of the Phoenix district called the Pasture. And it was really just her dealing with her post-traumatic stress disorder and just all of her emotions of all the radical changes that have gone on in such a short amount of time within a few years. And just that part just really, really kind of like, at first I was thinking I wasn't going to like this book, and it wasn't until I got, I just was dedicated to reading it, and I just had to get to a certain point before it really just picked up for me. But once I got to that point, the story just blew me away. It just got so much better after that point. And I do agree that this book is way better than the first one. It has so many different elements to it that were just really, really cool that I really enjoyed. Whereas the first one, I liked it. I thought it was a good story and all, but it just didn't have much to it. I didn't really have much to say about it. So that is my review of Phoenix Project 2, The Reformation by M.R. Pritchard. Hope you enjoyed viewing this. And until next time, later guys.